Good morning, everybody. Very warm welcome to all our prospective students. Young, bright minds. I see you here, and it's really sort of inspirational to see you here. So warm welcome to all of you, and also importantly to your parents and your guardians, your family who are watching you from. Ideally, we would have liked you all together, but we don't have the space, so we've put them up in the other rooms, so they're watching us. Very warm welcome to all of them. So we are really happy you're here. So before I sort of go on to saying a little bit about IPE and what we have to offer you, shall I say we are very pleased that you have considered IPE as your institution of choice to do your postgraduate studies in business. So we're quite delighted by that. Now, I recognize, of course, that you've still got an interview to go through, and the lucky ones will get a seat, and so that's the way life works. But regardless, we are really honored that you've taken the trouble to come here, make this effort, especially at a difficult time, as we know there's this pandemic going on. So again, a warm welcome to you in terms of just making all the effort to be here. Now, what I'd like to do is just give you a little briefing about IPE. I'm sure most of you have already done your research, and you know a fair bit about IPE. Nonetheless, just to sort of reiterate some highlights about IPE. Now, IPE is a very old institution. It was established in 1964. I'm sure you've already looked it up. In the early days, IPE was mostly focused on the public sector and the government. So mostly training IAS, IFS officials, lots of executive programs, MDPs for public sector officials, and so on. So it does mean IPE has a strong tradition and expertise in offering management and executive programs, which continues to this day. Till date, IPE has offered something like I think 1,000 MDPs or executive programs covering over 50,000 executives. So which is quite. It sort of obviously then translates into the experience when that teaching comes through to the postgraduate programs which you are applying for. But then, as I said, that's how it started. But then over time, as the Indian economy opened up and the market opened up, so IPE kind of reflected that transformation, and it moved more and more towards the commercial and private sector, because that's how the Indian economy moved as well. So we kind of reflected that. So today we are kind of as much focused on the commercial and private sector, which is kind of probably the interest of a large majority of you, as on the public sector. And today, so we have a range of PGDM programs covering a wide variety of specializations, and I know many of you are looking for different specializations. So you have general management, you have marketing, you have banking and finance, we have human relations, you have international business, and we still have an executive PGDM as well. Okay, so now on those programs, of course, the dean and we have the program coordinators here with us today, so they will tell you a little bit more about it. So I will sort of defer to them. Just a look, as I said, some highlights about IPE, which you probably already picked up. Now, one of our core strengths, if you choose to come and if you get admitted and if you choose to come and study with us, is our teaching faculty. We have a really outstanding teaching faculty. That's one of our core strengths, really. Many of our teaching faculty are from institutions of national repute, and they are known for delivering outstanding teaching as well as outstanding research. So that's one of our real core strengths, I would say. And therefore, that's reflected in the curriculum, which tends to be contemporary and relevant and reflective of best practices, both from industry, current industry practices, and that's where, as Dr. Saileja was saying, I mean, there's many of our faculty have had industry experience as well, so that comes through in the teaching, that comes through in how the pedagogy and how the knowledge is transferred. And also contemporary knowledge from research, where you sort of know the latest the latest trends in any particular field, if you like. The other highlight of IP is we do tend to have quite strong linkages with industry. It's reflected in, again, partly in the teaching. We have guest faculty who come and teach from industry, share their experiences. Every other week now, right now as I speak, we have successful alumni who are working in, who are in senior positions in industry. Every week we have the alumni come and share their experiences, which is a very popular event, and we have students log in and watch the webinar. Right now it's webinar because obviously because of the environment. And I know, I think Dr. Saileja and her team are also sharing some of that through the email. Some of you maybe, if you're interested, watch out for it. We have that every week, so it's ongoing even as I speak. Every Saturday it's there. You'll see some really interesting talks from alumni in the industry. And now all of that is, of course, then ultimately reflected in some really strong placements, and Dr. Karuna will probably speak to you a bit later on placements. So we have a range of multinational companies, national companies who come for the selection, for the placements. In 2020, I think the highest starting salary was around 20 lakhs, and the average was a little over 6 lakhs, so pretty decent performance. And last but not least, again, I'm sure you've picked this up, we have a really great campus, Shamirpet. It's a resort area, nice greenery, water, okay? And you've also got really good facilities. You have hostel, sports facilities, outdoor sports. It's a very nice campus, and you have a gym, we have food court with sort of variety of food choices available. Library, of course, a nice library, and IT infrastructure, really good IT infrastructure. And to make sure, sort of that nobody is at a disadvantage, we actually, for students to join us, we gave at our cost a really high-end laptop also. It's just to, so that everybody has what they need from an IT infrastructure point of view for their studies, if you like. Nice auditorium and so on. Now, the good thing is if you choose not to be on the campus and you want to be a day scholar, then we arrange the transportation for you because we recognize, Shamirpet is a little away. So you don't have to worry about, for those who want to be day scholars and, study from home, that's fine as well, and we facilitate that process by arranging the transportation for you. So I guess that's the, so again, making it more sort of congenial for you to undertake your studies, if you like. So how does this, you might ask, so what is the evidence? I mean, how does this get translated? How do we know? Well, rankings. I mean, I guess that's the evidence. So if you look at the rankings, I mean, we tend to do pretty well on most rankings. I mean, just a few weeks ago, we had Business World ranking where we were 25th nationally. Last year, 2020, we had Times B School ranking. We were 20th nationally. The week we were 38th. India Today 45th. And I mean, there's any number of them. But overall, I mean, they can go slightly up or down, but the basic sort of message being we tend to do pretty decently on those rankings. So at the end of it all, if I were in your shoes, if you ask, why should I study in IP? Why should I choose to be in IP? And I've covered, I think, some of those things. So this is what I would say. If I were a student, this is what I would tell myself. I mean, this is why I think I should study in IP, because there's great education. IP will give me a great education, contemporary curriculum, as I just mentioned that, excellent teaching faculty, I mentioned that too, okay, fun, you want to have fun, you don't want to be, all work and no play makes Jack a dull, but that's not what you want. You want to have a nice campus, which is there, but also all those facilities, sports, and, we also have a lot of student activities, by the way, so we have a lot of that. We have, a faculty colleague who sort of looks after that side of things, so lots and lots of extracurricular activities as well. And something I didn't touch upon, but if you have been in the industry like myself and many of my colleagues, one of the things you would know is to succeed in industry, it's not just enough to have the hard knowledge. I mean, in fact, once you start working, you realize that's only a small part. There's a big part is soft skills. listening, communication skills, team working skills, leadership. These things ultimately so they play a bigger role in your success in industry. Now, the good thing is IP recognizes that, and that's reflected in our curriculum. So we have special courses which help you sort of acquire that soft skills, so sort of lifts you in those areas. So you become market ready. You become market ready by the time you've graduated. Your employability skills are enhanced through those soft skills. So that's another reason I'd say, if you ask yourself, why should I study in IP? And then, so at the end, of course, what you want to is good jobs. So, good jobs. So I guess that's something, why should you study in IP? So I think a lot of this you may have picked up anyway, but one of the things I didn't touch upon, but I think it's relevant, is one of the things unique about IP, I would say. Many private business schools, I wouldn't say all, but vast majority, tend to be for profit, okay? We are among the very few private business schools. We are a non-profit society. We are not a private business school. So you might say, how does it matter? I mean, that's just about ownership structure. Well, it matters. It matters because as a non-profit registered society, we are not looking to maximize profits. And therefore, everything tends to be reasonable. It's about having reasonable charges. The fees tend to be reasonable because nobody's looking to maximize profits and pocket it and go home, take the profits and go home. Because there is nobody who owns IP. It's a non-profit registered society, as I said. So that has significant implications. So that's why our fees tend to be much more reasonable, and you get a really good ROI, or what you call return on investment. Okay. So if you are looking for all of this, then come and join us if you're selected, of course, and we will give you the best possible educational experience, preparing and enabling you to become leaders of tomorrow, leaders in society, and leaders in whichever organization you choose to be in. So once again, thank you for being here.